The age of the Dagestanis is coming to an end, my friends. Do you know what this means? We've been living in this shadow since 2018, since Khabib tapped out Conor. And Ankalaev lost. Umar lost to Merab, and he's going to lose to Merab again, and he still has to get through Mario Batista, so we have to wait on that. But Islam Makhachev is the last one. He is the last Saracen warlord that needs to be slayed by a holy crusader. And our holy crusader is Jack Della Maddalena. And Jack Della Maddalena is going to destroy Islam Makhachev. I know this fight is still more than a month away, but I'm going to pick Jack already. I'm going with Jack. Okay? When you have a weight bully that moves up, and Islam Makhachev is a weight bully at 155. He was a big weight bully. 5'10". His muscle mass did not make sense for that weight class. Okay? He had unfortunate events that played into his favor. He was supposed to fight the Oliveira rematch. Oliveira couldn't even make weight because Oliveira himself is a weight bully. So he gets the early notice fight with Volkanovski. Volkanovski that did not have a camp to prepare. Easy title defense there. He was supposed to fight Sarukian, but he fights Moicano instead because Sarukian fucks up. He's had these fights. Like, remember, the fight before he fought Oliveira was Bobby Green. Bobby fucking Green. And then you get a title shot after that. Like, I know he deserved a title shot because he had won so much at that point, but he hadn't fought anybody dangerous. There were still Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier, these guys that he could have fought, and he probably would have beat them still, but Bobby Green, Drew Dober, like Drew Dober and Arman Sarukian are like the same height, and they're very muscular and buff, but they're like 2 to 3 inches shorter than Islam. But Islam has the same muscle mass as those guys, if not more. Islam is such a massive weight bully, man. But now that he is moving up to welterweight, he won't be a weight bully anymore. That will be negated. That won't matter as much. He's going to be fighting a guy that's pretty much the same height as him. 5'11", 5'10", with similar muscle mass. I mean, let's just go through this, okay? JDM, 18-2 record versus 27-1 record. Islam has a much more impressive record than JDM does. Keep in mind, though, JDM's MMA debut, those 2 losses were his first 2 fights. His first 2 MMA fights, he lost. And then, he was 0-2, and then he said to himself, okay, the next 18 fights that I'm going to have, I'm just going to fucking win them. And win them, that motherfucker did. He won his next 18 fights. He didn't quit after he lost his first 2. And he just kept winning. 29 versus 33. They're both in their prime. Like, I consider that the Goldilocks zone for prime years. 28 to 34. Those are your prime years as a man. 5'11 versus 5'10. I think JDM's probably like 5'10 and a half. He was very similar size to Bilal. And then 73-inch reach versus 71-inch reach. I don't think the reach matters all that much. If it's 2 inches, Islam can negate a 2-inch reach. Not a super big advantage for JDM there. They're like the same proportions. I don't know about leg reach, but I don't think that matters all that much in this fight. Same proportions, same size, same height. They're probably going to be the same weight on fight night, like close to 190. But let's talk about technique and fundamentals now. JDM, let's talk about his past performances. Bilal, masterclass performance. He defends pretty much all the takedowns, stuffs them. Bilal had nothing. He gets picked apart. JDM with his crisp boxing, his excellent footwork. I mean, he's just annoying. Like, the way he throws these shots in, like, certain angles destroys Bilal Muhammad over 5 rounds. A great performance. The fight before that, piss poor performance at first, but he knocks out Gilbert Burns with that knee, but he was fighting with a broken hand. Or was it a broken arm? I think it was like this small little bone right here, so it was like leading into the wrist. So it was a broken arm, I'm pretty sure. And yet he still managed to get up from some of those takedowns. Like, he got taken down by Gilbert, but he squirmed his way out of it. And remember, at the end, that big fucking knee, as soon as he gets up, that kind of violent pedigree, that's the kind of shit you need to beat a guy like Islam Makhachev. And then fights before that, Kevin Holland, Randy Brown, tall, slick, black guys, strikers. I think he goes to split decision with Kevin Holland, and then he submits Randy Brown. And he also goes to split decision against some other guy whose name I forget. Those split decisions aren't good. Islam Makhachev, let's just look at his fight history real quick, okay? Beats up Moicano, first round Darce choke. The second Volkanovski fight, he was supposed to beat Oliveira, fucks that one up. But the first Volkanovski fight, in my opinion, that was a draw. That was as clear as a draw as get. And there's some people out there that say that Volkanovski won that. I'm not one of those people. Like, I'm not going to get ahead of myself. I thought that was a draw. The Dustin Poirier fight, that was like a really solid performance up against an old Dustin Poirier, though, who was past his prime and who looked small in there. Like, that's what I'm talking about. Islam Makhachev is the big fucking weight bully of the division. He made Dustin look small. And I know Dustin's listed as 5'9". He's probably like 5'8". Whereas Islam is a legit 5'10" with insane physiques. Like 5% body fat. And then Charles Oliveira, solid performance. King Green, like, that's the fight you won in order to get a title shot. Dan Hooker, good performance. Drew Dober, and see, this is what I'm talking about. What's Drew Dober listed at? Is he like 5'8", 5'9"? He's 5'8". At lightweight. Drew Dober is a legit lightweight. And he has like similar muscle mass and proportions that Islam does. But Islam being at 5'10", I know those 2 inches doesn't seem like a lot. But with his size, like those pictures that you see where he's like flexing. Let me see if I can find it. You know the one. It's the one where he's like yelling in the camera. This one. This is it. Look at those fucking veins popping out, man. And there was also another picture where he's flexing on his back. Like, you can see his back. The muscles on his back. Like, dude. Here it is. Let me see if we can find his back. That. Dude, look at that shit, man. Some guy, they don't have that at lightweight. Not every guy has that at lightweight. And remember, King Green with his allegations, talking about, the drugs. It's Russia, after all. Russia is a country that is very big on cheating. They like to cheat in Russia. Not just in, like, MMA, but, like, in all the sport. Like, even the ballerinas cheat. Even the ballerinas are, like, some horse steroids and shit. Like, some endurance shit. Like, that's just the way it is over there. They cheat. You're mean to tell me that this guy wasn't a weight bully at 155? Come on, man. Drew Dober, 2 inches shorter. Drew Dober, the top of his head is like right here on Islam's hairline. And Drew Dober doesn't have this type of musculature. He doesn't. Arman Tsarukyan, he does have good musculature. But even Arman's like 5'7". Remember in the face-off? Islam Makhachev versus Arman face-off. Look at the face-off. That's 3 inches right there. Same weight class, by the way. Look at this. 3 inches. They're in the same fucking weight class? No, dude. This Islam Makhachev is a natural welterweight that moves down. But now, because he's been such a massive bully throughout his entire career, he's going to be fighting someone his own size. He's going to be fighting JDM, who's slightly taller than him. That's not going to matter all that much. Slightly more reach. We've already talked about this. And look, you know, those split decisions aren't good to look at. But I'm confident in JDM. I really am. Like, when guys move up to fight for a belt in a higher weight class, like in recent memory, you had Topuria versus Oliveira. Can you think of like other guys at lightweight in the top 10 that Topuria could have fought that would have posed a bigger threat to Oliveira? Because I can. Literally all of them. Oliveira was tailor-made to get knocked out by a guy like Topuria. That was destined to happen no matter what. Guys like Fiziev, guys like even Gamrot, guys like that, Dan Hooker, these guys would have posed a much bigger threat to Topuria than Charles Oliveira. But I can't say the same thing for Islam Makhachev. Now, there are fights at welterweight that Islam Makhachev would have an easy time beating if it wasn't for JDM. I think Islam Makhachev handily beats guys like Sean Brady and Joaquin Buckley. I could see Islam Makhachev grappling and beating the shit out of Leon Edwards. Okay? So JDM, I don't consider him the toughest fight for Islam at welterweight, but he's up there. You know? He really is. Some tough fights, Shavkat, Usman, and dare I say, Ian Gary. Ian Gary showed good takedown defense against Shavkat, and Ian Gary's, he's a big guy. If Ian Gary wanted to, he could fight at middleweight. Okay? So, the way the fight's going to play out, in my opinion, Jack, he's going to pressure. He is a pressure fighter. He pushes forward. And we just saw Pereira show the key to beat these Dagestanis. You just got to move forward. You got to hit them once or twice. Don't miss. Hit them hard. And then make them panic for the takedown. That's what happened with Ankalaev. He got hit by that big right hook. He panicked the takedown. And when you panic takedown, it's not the same thing. It's easier to stuff them. And Jack's going to have an easy time stuffing those takedowns, especially if Islam is panicking. And we've seen Islam do panic takedowns many times before. He did it against a little 5'5", 5'6" Volkanovski. Dude, when this fight opens up, it's going to be Islam like a minus 250 favorite. He's going to be a minus 250 favorite, and I'm going to be over here like, bro, these fucking dumbass bookies, they don't know what they're doing. They want to lose money. If I had money to bet, I'm putting it on JDM, man. And that's final. I can't. I'm looking at the championship fights, and I know it wasn't his fault for Moicano and the Volkanovski rematch, but still, all of these fights at lightweight was because he was a big fucking bully, and he didn't fight a guy his own size. But now there's no more running. He's going to regret, Islam Makhachev, he's going to regret moving up to welterweight. He really is. He's going to, once this fight's over, he's going to wish that Bilal won so that he would have an excuse to stay down and fight Topuria. Because beating Topuria at 155, he would have weight bullied Topuria, and he does beat Topuria at 155. He does. But not JDM at 170. A JDM who's going to be fighting at like 190. It's over for the Dagestanis. It really is. It is over. And there's some new Dagestanis that are always going to be coming up. Like, for the next 10, 20, 30 years, we're never going to run out of Dagestanis and Armenians and Chechens and this and, you know, the Caucasus region. Especially now because those guys over there are like massive celebrities. They're like gods almost. So all of those little boys that are sweating and on those mats right now, they're going to grow up and they're going to be in the UFC 15 years from now. But for now, the age of Dagestan is over, and it will be over at UFC 322. You heard it here first, folks. That's all I got for this video. Like my video, subscribe, you motherfuckers. And peace out.